In a recent video, I began to explain a range of key food labelling requirements as outlined by the Australia and New Zealand Food Standards Code. Here is part 2 of our summary of all things food producers need to be mindful of when designing labels for their food products. Subject to any specific exemptions, your product must display a nutritional information panel setting out a range of required measurements per serving and a per unit quantity of 100 mils or 100 grams, such as energy and total fat. Nutritional panels must be set out in the prescribed format and must include the number of servings in the package as well as the average quantity per serving. If you want to make a claim about a specific vitamin or mineral in your product and detail this in your nutritional panel, there are a set of further guidelines that you must adhere to in terms of both calculating and labelling these claims. There are also specific rules around making health claims, which I will cover shortly. More details about nutritional panels can be found at the address below. Certain foods sold in Australia must declare their country of origin. However, this standard does not apply in New Zealand. There are also specific requirements on how the country of origin is labelled on your product, which can be found at the address below. The use of health and related claims on your packaging is a highly detailed area of the code and is subject to wide regulatory context that should be considered. It is not permissible to say simply that your product is high in fibre or lowers cholesterol. There are strict guidelines around what you need to do to prove your claim and the words you can use to promote it. Generally, food businesses need to ensure that any representations they make are not false, misleading, deceptive, or likely to mislead or deceive a consumer about your food. More detailed information about these guidelines can be found in the user guide shown below. Food ingredients and processing aids must be labelled with the word genetically modified if they contain novel DNA and/or novel protein derived from an approved genetically modified food. The general rule is that the statement genetically modified must be used in conjunction with the name of the food or in association with the specific ingredient in the ingredients list. If your product has been subject to irradiation, your product must be labelled with a statement to that effect. And there are similar rules around any ingredient that has been included in your product which has also been treated with ionizing radiation. Check out the rules at the link below. Finally, in addition to these broad regulations, there are a set of additional regulations for specific foods. Products such as meat, fish, fruit and vegetable juice, wine, honey, etc. all have supplementary guidelines that need to be followed, so check the overview of the FSANZ standards for the best place to start. To help you on your way to meeting these requirements, you can download a copy of our simple food labelling standards checklist as a reference. However, be aware that as a food producer, you are legally responsible for adhering to these guidelines, so they need to be given the utmost consideration when planning your next packaging project. Thanks for watching.